soul and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on Adbn TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Every second, a story breaks.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has formally presented the 2026 appropriation bill to the National Assembly.
The nation reacts. The world shifts. History moves in real time. Before the noise, before the opinions. One screen keeps you connected. From the headlines shaking the nation to the stories everyone talks about tomorrow. Stream anytime, anywhere. When the story matters, you know where to turn. Adbn. A part of you.
Did you know the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) will begin the distribution of permanent voter cards across Osun State from Wednesday, the 22nd of July 2026, ahead of the Osun State governorship election on Saturday, the 15th of August 2026. According to the Osun State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola, the exercise is for newly registered voters, citizens who apply for a transfer of their voter registration, those who requested replacement of lost or damaged PVCs, as well as voters who are yet to collect their cards from previous registration exercises. PVC distribution will begin at the registration area centers from Wednesday, the 22nd of July, before moving to INEC local government area offices from Wednesday, the 29th of July to Friday, the 7th of August between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily, including weekends. Remember, PVC collection is strictly personal. No one can collect your card on your behalf, and without your PVC, you cannot be accredited or vote on election day. As Osun prepares to elect its next governor and deputy governor, visit your designated PVC collection center before the deadline. Collect your permanent voter cards and take your place in deciding the future of Osun on Saturday, the 15th of August 2026. Get your PVC. Protect your vote.
Stay updated on our latest series of voter education on the Adbn Enlightenment Campaign.
Adbn. A part of you.
To national peace and unity. Army rescues 34 kidnapped victims in nationwide operations. Governor Moino advises leaders to serve with humility. In reports on the foreign scene, 3 killed, 21 injured in Moscow bomb blast. In sports, Super Falcons of Nigeria defeats Copper Queens of Zambia. Good evening, I am Ama Marcus, and now the details. Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, has urged Nigerians to embrace unity, forgiveness, and peaceful coexistence saying the nation's security, stability, and prosperity depend on placing the collective interest above ethnic, religious, and political differences. Speaking in Jos at the 80th birthday celebration of former Plateau State Governor Jonah Jang, Shettima said Plateau's experience reflects Nigeria's diversity and complexities. He stressed that no criminal would be judged by ethnicity, religion, or place of origin, and called on leaders and citizens to reject hatred and promote reconciliation for lasting peace and development.
Plateau has always mattered to the heart of Nigeria. It hosts the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies at Kuru, the headquarters of the 3 Armored Division, Operation Safe Haven, the Police Staff College, the National Veterinary Research Institute at Adbn, and the National Center for Remote Sensing. These institutions are the pillars of our security, our knowledge, our innovation, and our culture, and their influence reaches far beyond our borders. A nation entrusts such treasures only to soil in which it believes.
Also speaking, former President Goodluck Jonathan described Jang as a dependable partner during his administration, while Governor Caleb Mutwang hailed him as a mentor, father figure, and exemplary leader whose impact on Plateau State remains enduring.
The choices he made, the challenges he faced, and the convictions that sustained him throughout his years of service. That is why airman to politics, my life, is more than a personal memoir. It's a contribution to our national history. It reminds us that leadership requires courage, patience, resilience, and faith.
One thing I want to assure you, that the people of Plateau love you. They love you. They will never forget what you have done for this state. And there are many things you have done for this state that cannot be forgotten. Today, one of the edifices that stand as a testimony to your administration is the new government house in Little Redfield. It's an edifice that people are yet to appreciate. I've traversed the length and breadth of this country, and I want to say that it is one of the best government houses in Nigeria.
In his response, Senator Jang thanked President Bola Tinubu for his goodwill message, Vice President Shettima for attending the event, Governor Mutwang for hosting, and other dignitaries who honored him.
This book is not written to settle scores or attack anyone. Rather, it is an honest effort to place events in their proper context, explain the circumstances under which certain decisions were taken, and present the facts as I experienced them. I believe history is best known when those who participated in it tell their stories truthfully and with humility.
State Governor Senator called on Edo indigenes in the United Kingdom to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election in 2027, describing continuity at the federal level as key to sustaining development in the state. The governor also urged the diaspora to invest their expertise, resources, and global networks in Edo growth, saying the state is increasingly positioning itself as a destination for investment and economic opportunities. Let's listen in.
At the Shine Beyond Borders engagement in London, Governor Mando Paulo said the partnership between the federal government and Edo State has delivered visible gains in infrastructure, security, and economic development. He urged Edo professionals and investors abroad to complement government's efforts by bringing home their knowledge, investment, and international connections.
Whatever we are doing is no longer is for Edo to be comfortable. It's for us to be comfortable. That's what we are doing, whatever we are doing. I resigned from a new site after governance.
It is not easy. Day and night, they are not sleeping. But today, I am proud to say that many people are testifying that Nigeria is one of the safest states today.
The engagement also drew support from prominent Edo leaders and members of the diaspora, who commended the administration's development drive and pledged to contribute through investment and strategic partnerships.
The road that will be built is so that the rural community economy can improve. And so you ask yourself, in what way can you intervene? Government can't build factories. The government will speak for himself. Because the evidence on ground is clear. Government builds very breweries.
The high points of the event Bola Tinubu's 2027 re-election bid.
As a community, you are not just important to Nigeria, you are important to Edo State, and you are important to the agenda of Senator Monday Okpewolo.
As conversations gradually shift towards 2027, the London engagement reflects the Edo State government's strategy of combining political mobilization with economic diplomacy, positioning the diaspora not only as voters and supporters, but as critical partners in the state's long-term development. In Edo State, Favor Usazua, Adbn News.
Several communities in Ika local government area of Akwa Ibom State have received a major boost in infrastructure and social development with the inauguration of projects facilitated by President of the 10th Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. The Senate President was represented at the event on Friday by his wife, Dr. Ekaite Unoma Akpabio. Adbn's correspondent Emmanuel Salas reports.
The day's activities began with a courtesy visit to the paramount ruler of Ika local government area, His Royal Majesty Edidem Joseph Okosi, where the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, represented by his wife Dr. Unoma Akpabio, received royal blessings before proceeding to inaugurate the project. Classroom blocks at Ika Comprehensive High School, Ikorokpanawa, and St. Augustine Secondary School, Uruanyang, an ICT Center for Youth at the Ika Council Secretariat, the Ika Ikoriwang, Ikoroyo Rural Farming Road, and other community development projects. Speaking during the inauguration, Dr. Unoma Akpabio said the interventions reflect the Senate President's commitment to improving access to quality education, expanding digital opportunities for young people, and providing infrastructure that will enhance the well-being of the people.
We can't talk about election here. We can't talk about campaign. We can only talk about increasing our numbers for the Senate President, for our President first of all, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, GCFR. The chairman has reassured us again that no vote will be lost in Ika. I can only pray that continue to be as peaceful as you are. Women remain peaceful. The youth remain peaceful. Our traditional institution, let them remain peaceful. Let brothers remain peaceful. The chairman of the council has equally told me that we will never see any blood.
The chairman of Ika Local Government Council, Barrister Utebe Nwoko, commended the Senate President for attracting impactful projects to the area.
He gave us a road. Now we took the road to Ikorodo, commencing from Orania, and then it goes through. Some people know what I'm talking about. And took to Ikorodo. The idea was to go and get the place into Ika local government. Now you know what you have thought about that place. Today, by the grace of God and the magnanimity of the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Mo Basi Eno PhD, the road has extended even beyond that place that we stopped in 2018, 2019 to where we are today. But I must also thank the governor who collaborated with the governor of Abia State Governor Oti, and they told him and said, no, he can extend to this part. Abia State extend to this part and live as brothers.
Speaking on behalf of the beneficiaries, the principal of Ika Comprehensive High School, Mrs. Umoitenkam, lauded the interventions.
Senate President, on behalf of the management staff and students of Ika Comprehensive High School, Ikola Panawa, I welcome you to this great school that has produced many dignified sons and daughters of our great country.
Developmental projects spread across Ika local government area, courtesy of the Senate President, if well harnessed, will improve the life of the people of the area. Emmanuel Silas, Adbn News.
The leadership of the Niger Delta ex-agitators, Phase 3 in Delta State, have endorsed President Bola Tinubu and Senate President Godswill Akpabio for re-election in the 2027 general elections. The endorsement was announced in Warri during the inauguration of newly elected executives who will lead Phase 3 beneficiaries of the Presidential Amnesty Program in the state for the next 2 years. Speaking after his inauguration, the new chairman, Julius Omoyibo, praised President Tinubu for appointing Dr. Dennis Otaro as administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, saying the appointment has strengthened peace and stability in the Niger Delta.
Leadership for Phase 3, since they are not be training people, we have been crying for this leadership. We have been expecting this since. But there is Otaro, when Otaro enter, he's very great leadership, training people, even scholarship for students. So we never see this kind of amnesty before. And everywhere is peaceful.
We expect the new government to take charge and respect leaders, followers, and carry everybody along.
Any good man, they must criticize him. But we see him as one of the best in the program. And we know that today is the best man in the program. We inaugurate this man today, Julius Omoyibo, today into state chairman to help him to calm the situation in the Niger Delta, so that we may be peace in the Niger Delta.
For the ESCO, they should follow suit. They should follow the protocol of the former ESCO, because the former ESCO, they done well, have done well. They should follow suit.
The People's Democratic Party faction loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, says the publication of its presidential and National Assembly candidate by the Independent National Electoral Commission has ended speculation over its participation in the 2027 general elections. In a statement today, PDP's National Publicity Secretary, Jungodo Haruna Mohammed, said INEC's publication confirms Senator Professor Sandy Ojang Onor as the party's presidential candidate and Alhaji Babangida Umar as his running mate. The PDP said this development vindicates the party, dismisses claims that it would be unable to field a presidential candidate, and thanked its members and supporters for their loyalty throughout the leadership crisis. The Ogun State Executive Council has approved the construction of 450 housing units, new official quarters for members of the State House of Assembly, the reconstruction of the Ogun State Governor's Lodge in Abuja, and the rehabilitation of strategic roads across the state, and the upgrading of some traditional schools. According to a statement issued today by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Information and Strategy, Kayode Akinmade, these approvals are part of Governor Dapo Abiodun's efforts to deepen infrastructure development, strengthen governance institutions, and preserve the state's cultural heritage. He said the council also approved the reconstruction of key roads across the state's 3 senatorial districts to improve connectivity and boost economic activities. On the reconstruction of the assembly quarters and the governor's lodge, Akinmade said the project would provide a more conducive environment for governance while preserving government assets. The governor's media aide added that these projects align with the administration's policy of replacing obsolete public infrastructure with modern, durable facilities capable of meeting the state's growing need. According to him, many government buildings inherited by the present administration are over 50 years old and have deteriorated beyond economic repair. You're watching ADBN News at 7. Stay with us for more reports after this break. Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. You're watching ADBN News at 7. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, in collaboration with Action Aid Nigeria through the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, have launched the Humanitarian Development and Peace Practitioners Nexus Policy, a coherent and learning sub-working group. The launch ceremony, which was held in Abuja, featured a high-level roundtable on financing the HDP Nexus in Nigeria and a policy review to strengthen the national durable solutions architecture for internally displaced persons and returnees. Let's listen in.
Nigeria currently faces a severe displacement crisis with over 6 million affected people, prompting a strategic shift towards durable relocation solutions through voluntary return, local integration, and permanent resettlement cities. States like Benue State have set up a 5-year IDP resettlement plan. Yobe State government considers allocating 5% of its 2025 to 2027 budgets to IDPs, while the federal government has commenced construction of new permanent housing developments and communities with pilot phases in Nasarawa, Borno, and Zamfara states.
For how long will Nigeria continue to be feeding them, giving them food items, giving them soap and mosquito net? I think that is not tenable at all.
This event represents another significant milestone in Nigerian collective effort to institutionalize an integrated approach to addressing humanitarian crises, promoting sustainable development, and building lasting peace across our nation.
Speaking on the importance of the launch of the Policy Coherence and Learning Sub-Working Group, Director, Business Development and Innovation at Action Aid underscored the need for accountability and transparency in resource mobilization.
And that would mean constantly being in a part of the technical working group, the subgroup that has been launched today. And they will provide technical capacity to that group as required, and also ensure that all resources are accounted for, because one of the mandates of this subgroup is also to raise resources for ensuring that resources is available, both financial and human resources available for the HDP to fly.
Other participants and stakeholders highlighted immediate deliverables in social protection, inclusion, and protection services.
When you talk about IDP camps, this should be very temporal structures. They should not be there. We have IDP camps that have been there for as much as 12, 15 years. It's not a good thing. If you have ever seen an IDP camp, you will not wish it for anybody.
In terms of the shifts that are happening in the coordination of humanitarian work, and how it relates to these issues of durable solutions, and development investments in the future of people affected by displacement.
The HDB Nexus launch focused on clarifying the mandates, reporting line, membership expectations and value addition of the sub-working group with a clear understanding of multi-sectoral and multi-year financing, in addition to learning partnerships with the UNDP Crisis Academy. From the nation's capital, Bito Brian, Adbn News.
The Yobe State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, says heavy rainfall and flash flooding have continued to affect communities in Damaturu, Nguru, Masina, and Busari local government areas. According to the agency, torrential rainfall triggered flash floods that damaged several residential buildings. It said assessments are ongoing to determine the full extent of the destruction and guide emergency response efforts. SEMA urges residents to remain indoors during heavy rainfall, avoid flood-prone areas and unnecessary travel, and observe safety measures throughout the raining season. Well, troops of the Nigerian Army have rescued 34 kidnapped victims, arrested suspected ISWAP informants, and recovered arms and ammunition during coordinated operations across the country. But according to an operational report, troops of Hadinkai rescued 31 abducted victims along the Buratai-Kamuya Road in Biu local government area of Borno State, after responding to intelligence that terrorists were abducting civilians. The troops engaged the attackers, forcing them to flee and abandon the victims. The report also said troops of Operation Fansanyama repelled terrorists in Zamfara State, while troops of Operation Mesa rescued a kidnapped woman and her 2 children along the Obajana-Jakura-Jamini Road in Lokoja, Kogi State. Meanwhile, one Nigerian army officer and a police officer have been killed after troops of Operation Fansanyama repelled a terrorist attack on a forward operating base in Karwa Namoda local government area of Zamfara State. The Nigerian army said the terrorists attempted to infiltrate the Kasuwan Daji base in the early hours of Saturday, but were driven back by troops who inflicted heavy casualties on the attackers and forced them to flee. During a follow-up, troops rescued 9 abducted victims from the fleeing terrorists. The army said reinforcements were deployed to pursue the attackers and reaffirmed its commitment to sustaining operations against terrorism in the region. Still on security news, the Nigerian Army says the graduation of new cadets from the Nigerian Military School, Zaria, will strengthen the country's military manpower and operational capacity. Well, speaking at the 68th Passing Out Parade in Zaria, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, represented by the Commander, Infantry Corps, Major General Godwin Mutkut, urged the graduating cadets to uphold discipline, patriotism, and professionalism in service to the nation. He also warned against violations of operational security, including the misuse of social media.
Today's graduation is a tangible boost to our ongoing efforts to implement Mr. President's directive structure from the current 8 divisions to 12. Indeed, service to Nigeria remains the highest honor any individual can give to his nation. Uphold these values always, as they are the pillars upon which our armed forces stand. Thankfully, you are not alone on this journey, but are now part of a long-standing tradition of excellent mentorship. Face the future with courage, humility, and an unwavering commitment to the ideals you now represent.
The Army Chief described the graduation as a major milestone, noting that the 6-year training program had equipped the cadets with leadership skills, values, and discipline required to serve in future military service. He commended the commandants, instructors, staff, and parents for their contributions to these cadets' success. and charged the graduates to uphold the values of the Nigerian Army while contributing to national peace, security, and development.
Let me be clear. Violations of social media policy can and will result in disciplinary action, including dismissal from service where necessary. You must therefore exercise the highest level of restraint, maturity, and responsibility as you navigate the social media space. Equally, wherever you are deployed, I implore you to competently operate within the stipulations of the tenets of human rights and strictly adhere to the rules of engagement and standard operating procedures in the conduct of operations.
The Nigerian Military School Zaria remains one of the country's foremost institutions for grooming future military leaders with strong academic and leadership foundation. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has intercepted cocaine concealed in a local mortar and a backpack destined for China and Italy through a Lagos logistics company. The agency also arrested suspected drug traffickers in Rivers, Anambra, Delta, Nasarawa, and Zamfara states, recovering large quantities of cocaine, cannabis, methamphetamine, codeine syrup, tramadol, and other illicit drugs during separate operations. NDLEA's chairman, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, commended the officers for the successful operation and urged them to sustain the agency's crackdown on drug trafficking alongside nationwide anti-drug awareness campaigns. The Edo State Police Command has dismissed 5 corporals and demoted an inspector over their alleged involvement in an unlawful arrest, abduction, and extortion syndicate uncovered in Benin City. Well, Police Public Relations Officer ASP Enoy Koidem disclosed this while briefing journalists, saying the action followed months of intelligence-led investigations prompted by complaints from residents. But according to him, victims alleged they were intercepted by individuals posing as police officers, forced into commercial buses, and compelled to withdraw money through point-of-sale operators before being released. The command said the dismissed officers will be prosecuted, while has been declared a deserter after absconding, and efforts are ongoing to apprehend him.
Inspector Awerime Wisdom, Inspector Arebame God's Power, Pramodi Philip, Corporal David Samuel, Corporal Elvis, and ex-force Corporal Emmanuel Destiny, Corporal Uwase Emmanuel, attached to 60 PMF Squadron ESACO, was defaulted and tried in an orderly room for the offense of discreditable conduct contrary to paragraph E, sub 3, corrupt practice. The investigation has revealed that the suspects were operating as an organized criminal network comprising 7 police personnel, dismissed police personnel, commercial bus drivers, and civilian collaborators who systematically targeted innocent persons for abduction and extortion. So far, more than 11 victims have positively identified members of this syndicate. Following a thorough investigation and disciplinary proceedings, the following officers who were found culpable of
The Edo State Police Command warned that erring officers and civilians aiding criminal activities will face persecution, while reaffirming its commitment to accountability and protecting the public from abuse. We now move to Delta State, where the police command has arrested a suspected human trafficker and rescued a 25-year-old woman allegedly lured to Côte d'Ivoire with the promise of learning hairdressing before forced into prostitution. Police the rescue victim and another woman to Cote d'Ivoire for sexual exploitation. The rescue victim has been reunited with her family and is receiving medical care. Police say efforts are ongoing to rescue the second victim and the rest members of the trafficking syndicate. Commissioner of Police Yemi Oyeniyi commended the officers involved and urged residents to report suspected trafficking and fraudulent recruitment activities. Humility and service have been identified as stepping stones to be embraced by people aspiring to positions of leadership and influence. Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Moino, gave this charge while delivering a lecture at the Special Leadership Summit organized by the Shepherd House Assembly in Abuja. Francisca Oga has details.
We are at the Shepherd's House Assembly, where the governor of Akwa Ibom State Assembly.
The church was packed full and the congregation listened with rapt attention as Pastor Umoino, governor of Akwa Ibom State, gave a teaching on leadership backed with passages from the Bible and laced with true life experiences from his journey as a leader. He said, leaders are made in the secret place and often go through a period of test.
God will never give you a platform to amplify what you do if he does not trust your character. He will want to be sure that if I give you this platform, that your character, and the other will say character, your character must be good.
Speaking to journalists after the service, the governor shared how being a pastor has influenced his leadership style and called on leaders to always put the people they serve first.
First of all, it teaches you to serve the people with humility and dignity, with integrity. All of those are virtues that you carry as a child of God, but as a person, someone who has been speaking to others. It's now my time, maybe a test period. And I pray that God will find me worthy after this exercise. Every government is of God, and we must learn as citizens to support the government so that they can continue to achieve the purpose for which God has sent them. I believe, like I said, in engagement rather than chaos.
The senior pastor of the Shepherd House Assembly, Apostle Joshua Kalena, while fielding questions from journalists, described Pastor Umoino as a wise choice by the people of Akwa Ibom State.
This man is accountable. He's a steward. He has humility. He loves the Lord. And I know he will do good for Akwa Ibom people. Just 3 years, we can see the impact he's making already. And he has the anointing for grassroots. He's opening the grassroots, the local governments, and the wards are opening up with the impact of his government.
The theme of the Leadership Summit is the voice of influence and afforded the congregation the opportunity to learn from a serving leader.
From the Shepherd House Assembly in Abuja, Francisca Oga, ABN News.
Ahead of the 2027 general elections, a Catholic priest of the Kaduna Archdiocese, Reverend Father Joshua Achir, has urged Nigerians to register and obtain their permanent voter card to elect credible leaders. Well, he was speaking in Kaduna, and the cleric said active participation in the electoral process is essential to strengthening democracy, stressing that informed voting remains one of the most effective ways for citizens to influence good governance.
Every Nigerian is called upon to go out there, get their PVC, dust it, and keep it well, and wait for the time to vote. Every Nigerian is equally called to encourage those in their spaces and corners to get ready for the elections. That's the only way that we can effect a positive change in our nation, Nigeria. The young, the old, all those who have attained the age of having their voters' card should please go out and do the needful. Let us have this voters' card kept. That is the only way that we can effect the change that is desired when we come out to vote. And that is not to say that the government is not doing her best, but her best is not good enough at this point in time.
Father Archer also expressed concern over the country's security challenges, urging government and security agencies to intensify efforts to protect lives and improve the welfare of citizens. He said insecurity has disrupted livelihoods and community development and called on leaders to create an enabling environment for Nigerians to thrive. He also appealed for unity, warning against divisive rhetoric and emphasizing that national progress depends on collective efforts.
But when insecurity becomes the order of the day, and there is no enabling environment for people to grow, for people to thrive, then it becomes a problem. The government should be sensitive to the needs of people, to the plight of Nigerians. And they should try as hard as they can to see that every Nigerian's life is better. I am sure that Nigerians will be happy. We have to show love and solidarity to one and all. We cannot allow people to come and divide us. No. It is always beautiful when we are together. We are even stronger together. We are better together. And so no one should allow cracks in the world. No one should be a clog in the wheel. We should do our own best and encourage others to do so as well.
The cleric added that responsible leadership, active voter participation, and improved security are critical to deepening Nigeria's democracy ahead of the 2027 general elections. The Provincial Committee for the Establishment of the Nigerian Coast Guard has urged the National Assembly to pass the Nigerian Coast Guard Bill, describing it as vital to improving maritime security, boosting the blue economy and creating jobs. In a statement in Abuja, the committee dismissed concerns over funding and duplication of duties, insisting the proposed Coast Guard would complement existing agencies by focusing on maritime law enforcement, search and rescue, environmental protection, and waterway safety. The committee said a dedicated Coast Guard would strengthen the protection of Nigeria's inland and coastal waterways, allowing the Nigerian Navy concentrate on national defense. It appealed to lawmakers, the executive, and other stakeholders to support the passage of the bill, describing it as a strategic investment in national security and economic growth. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, has clarified that no fire occurred at Terminal 2 of the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, contrary to earlier reports. In a statement, FAN said the smoke seen inside the terminal was caused by the discharge of the facility's FM200 fire suppression system, not a fire. It added that investigations are underway to determine what triggered the system. The authority confirmed no injuries or casualties were recorded and normal operations have resumed, with passenger processing and flight activities continued as scheduled. FAN reaffirms its commitment to the safety and security of airport operations. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board has inaugurated the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund, the Equity Scheme Investments Committee, to strengthen oversight of the investment under the intervention scheme. While speaking at the inauguration in Ikoyi, Lagos, Executive Secretary of NCDMB, Felix Ogwe, urged members of the committee to exercise due diligence in carrying out their responsibilities and ensure accountability in the management of the scheme.
I'm happy that we're here today to really push this committee forward so that we can start issuing out some little funds to applicants who are already, I believe the list is growing every day. And I hope that the committee, the group being set up today will be able to do good due diligence on all the companies and make sure that the equity is not, the fund is not dashed. It's supposed to be refunded when after being used judiciously. So I think one of those at top of the list you guys have to do is to make sure that the people you are giving the fund to are people who are credible, who will return our fund back to us.
The committee is expected to provide strategic oversight of the scheme by monitoring investments and supporting the long-term growth of beneficiary companies.
We will now then have more oversight in these companies because of the instruments that we're using, and we can now help them develop into sustainable companies, which is what the fund is targeted at. I think in terms of the committee mandate, the aim is to ensure that the committee has oversight over the fund and ensures that we have a portfolio that's sustainable and have investments in companies that will grow to become bigger companies down the line.
The inauguration reinforces the board's commitment to strengthening the administration of NCIF equity scheme and advancing local content development in Nigeria's oil and gas industry. In business news this evening, the federal government says it will not reverse the revocation of mining licenses issued to defaulting operators, insisting that compliance with Nigerian laws is non-negotiable. In a statement issued today in Abuja, the special advisor to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Kehinde Bamibetan, said no account of media pressure, foreign influence, or international arbitration would compel the government to reinstate the affected licenses. He dismissed claims that the government was favoring Chinese companies over Western investors, describing the allegations as a coordinated blackmail campaign by foreign-backed interests whose licenses were revoked for failing to meet statutory obligations and accumulating debt. Bamibetan also defended the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, saying allegations of a pro-China bias were unfounded. Nigeria's liquefied natural gas, the NLNG, says it will dedicate 100% of its cooking gas production to the domestic market, ending exports to improve access to clean cooking fuel across the country. While speaking at the company's 2026 Facts and Figures presentation, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Adeleye Falade said NLNG supplied a record 500,000 tons of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, to the Nigerian market last year, the highest annual domestic supply since local distribution began in 2005. Falade said the company now meets about one-third of Nigeria's cooking gas demand and made the decision to help reduce the health risk associated with the use of firewood and charcoal. He added that NLNG has generated over $150 billion in revenue and exported more than 6,000 LNG cargoes since it began operations. Saudi Arabia, Russia, and 5 other OPEC Plus members have agreed to increase production of oil by 188,000 barrels per day from September, completing the rollback of a voluntary production cut. The decision was announced after an online meeting of 7 participating countries and was widely expected by market analysts. Analysts, on their part, say the increase is unlikely to have an immediate impact on global oil supplies as exports through the Strait of Hormuz remain disrupted by tensions linked to the Middle East conflict. You're still watching Adbn News at 7. More reports from entertainment, foreign and sports desk after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now to sad developments where 3 people have been killed and at least 21 others injured. It's after a woman carrying homemade bombs triggered an explosion near an obscure restaurant in central Moscow. Police say the blast occurred on Saturday evening near the Balazzi Rossi Italian restaurant. Russia's anti-terrorism committee said the woman was stopped by a security guard while trying to enter the restaurant before the explosion occurred. The woman, the security guard, and a customer were killed in the blast. Authorities have not identified the victims or said who may have been responsible as investigations continue. A small tourist plane has crashed near Peru's famous Nazca lanes, killing 13 people on board. Peru's Ministry of Transport and Communication said the aircraft was carrying 11 foreign tourists from Germany, Italy, and Spain, along with 2 crew members when it crashed near the town of Socos, close to the Nakaza archaeological site. The plane caught fire after the impact, making rescue efforts impossible. Firefighters and police responded to extinguish the blaze as authorities have launched an investigation into the cause of the crash. Bringing it back to West Africa, Guinea has announced it will not join the planned economic community of West Africa states ECOWAS single currency, opting instead to retain its non-currency, the Guinean franc. ECOWAS is expected to launch the ECO currency in July 2027 through a phased approach, with only member states that meet key economic criteria participating initially. Analysts say Guinea's decision reflects concerns about the impact of the monetary union on the economy, particularly as most of its exports are destined for Asian markets. ECOWAS leaders are expected to meet in December to address outstanding issues ahead of this planned rollout. We now move to sport, where Nigeria's Super Falcons demonstrated supreme resilience, tactical discipline, and relentless determination on Saturday night, defeating the Copper Queens of Zambia 1-0 in a thrilling WAFCON group stage encounter in Rabat. An early clinical finish from star forward Azizat Oshoala proved to be a decisive goal, securing all 3 points for the 10-time African champions, despite playing over half the contest with 10 players. The game took a dramatic turn in the closing stages of the first period. Central defender Tosin Demien was initially shown a yellow card for a challenge on Zambia's Barbara Banda, but the decision was temporarily rescinded following a lengthy video assistance referee review that spotted an offside in the build-up. However, in the 40th minute, another heavy duel between the 2 players resulted in Demien receiving a second disciplinary assessment and a red card, reducing Nigeria to 10 women before the halftime break. The Super Falcons will now face Egypt on Wednesday, the 5th of August, 2026. The Egyptian side enters the fixture searching for their first point of the tournament after losing their opening 2 matches. Arsenal's manager, Mikel Arteta, says the Premier League champions are prepared to spend more money before the summer transfer window closes, insisting the club will not sit as they look to defend their first league title in 22 years. Although Arsenal has been relatively quiet in the transfer market compared with big spending rivals Tottenham Hotspur, Manchester City and Chelsea, they have been strongly linked with moves for Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle United and Vinicius Jr. of Real Madrid. While Arteta refuses to comment on the reported interest in either player, he stressed that Arsenal remains determined to strengthen the squad. Speaking after Arsenal's 4-1 pre-season victory over Girona, the Spaniard said the club expected further movement in the transfer market over the coming weeks as they continue to improve and evolve the team. Nigeria's Ruth Usoro claimed the silver medal in women's long jump at the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow on Saturday. Usoro placed a season's best of 6.87 meters with her very first attempt, a mark that kept her in medal contention throughout the competition. The Nigerian led for much of the event before fouling on her next 2 attempts, but her opening jump proved enough to secure the second place. England's Jasmine Sawyers successfully defended her Commonwealth title with a winning leap of 6.93 meters, while Australia's Brooke Bushell claimed bronze with 6.80 meters. The silver medal represents a significant improvement for Usoro, who finished 6th at the previous Commonwealth Games. We now move to entertainment with popular TikTok stars Habib Hamzat Adelaja, popularly known as Pella, and Amadou Elizabeth Aminata, known as Jarvis, celebrated their white wedding in Lagos at the weekend with celebrities, entertainers, business leaders, and top digital creators in attendance. The ceremony, which turned on social media under the hashtag JP2026, followed the couple's court wedding and traditional marriage rites held earlier in Benin City, Edo State. One of the highlights of the event was the announcement by real estate entrepreneur King Mohammed Ada, popularly known as King Ochacho, that he gifted the newlyweds a mansion in Abuja, reportedly valued at 400 million naira. Veteran Nigeria, juju and high life musician Iyun Janet Oluwatosi Ajilore, popularly known as Saint Janet, has died after a brief illness. Her death was announced today by publisher and socialite Otumba Femi Davis in a post on Facebook. Saint Janet was celebrated for her energetic stage performances and unique blend of music, wit, and social commentary, earning her a lasting place in Nigeria's juju and high life music scene. Spider-Man Brand New Day has made box office history, earning an estimated $355 million in its opening weekend in North America to become the second biggest domestic debut of all times, behind only Avengers Endgame, which opened with $357 million in 2019. The Sunny blockbuster also grossed $572 million internationally, including $121 million from China, bringing its total opening weekend total to $927 million, the highest second worldwide debut ever, behind Avengers Endgame. Well, starring Tom Holland, the film